Good morning. Welcome to Carpool Convo with Liz
Deb.
and Deb. We're here on the island of St. Croix, the beautiful island of St. Croix in the Virgin Islands of the United States. We are parked near the beach, coming together to chat, to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been all over the place this morning so far.
Mm-hmm.
And yes,
I mean, if you've been with us for a while, you know that we have opinions on stuff. We feel strongly about the things that are important to us and by extension to the world that we live in. I was asking Liz this morning about, just now as a matter of fact, if someone asked her, what's Carpool Convos, what would her response be? And the second part of the question was, do you think our ages have anything to do with it? So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that because I feel like it's a part of it. She said because of our experience.
yeah.
Did I get that right?
Our time in the world.
Our
Yeah.
time in the world, right? So, being 60-somethings does
She's not yet 60, but okay.
does have something to do with what we
are in between
These are the wisdom years.
the
Somebody
speed
said
limits in the States.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that. Yeah, somebody calls it the wisdom years. Somebody else calls it the goddess years.
I like that one.
I do. I like that too. And anything that makes me acknowledge that I do have some life experience and some wisdom, not just experience, because you can have all the experiences in the world, and if you don't learn anything from them, then it's just that. You're just taking up space, I think. And I don't want to be just taking up space. I want to use what I've learned and what I've...
It's almost having a place.
Mm-hmm.
I want a place in the grand scheme. I want a place that has some measure of significance. It doesn't need to be global, but even if our significance is just that we ponder these questions and try to sort of sort out ourselves and the community we live in. And yeah, I do. I just realized that it doesn't need to be big.
So well said. Well, the what we think of as small actually is a ripple. And we know ripples have effects,
Yes.
right? That are far reaching. So every bit of energy that we put out into the universe by our thoughts, our words, and our deeds has effects on the whole, innit?
It does. And as you said that, the ripples, one of the things they talked to when I went to grad school, they talked about you won't often get to see the fruit, but you're planting seeds. And I think that's the same thing. I won't necessarily know my impact.
Yes. Yeah, because in these YouTube streets, you put things out there and there's so much being put out there, so much content. But just as you find your tribe finds you. And so those ripples, even in these internet streets, are still far-reaching. And I'm not so much concerned with those that see this agreeing with me as I am with those that see this.
Thank you.
Yeah, being sparked, inspired, led towards just a conversation, or even if it's, something that's just happening in your own mind, an openness to bring your own energy to the subject, to the topic, to the thing that is important enough to give attention to.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's important enough to give attention to today?
Today. That's big. We've been, like I said, we've been talking all over the place, and
Ooh, good convo too.
yeah.
Oh,
And we were talking. One of the things that came up was the idea of.
advocacy.
Oof.
We have the best conversations. We really do. And Liz is a great deep thinker. And
I just frowned at her saying that.
I know you did. I didn't even have to see you to know you did.
I just in my head discounted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't do that.
I know. That was one of those things we talked about was
Yes.
discounting.
Yeah, another day.
Another day. Okay.
Another day.
I mean, we started talking about politics. That was where we started this morning. But I don't want to go there. Let's not go there. That's
Good. Let's not.
Okay.
Okay. So what else did we talk about after that?
Responsibility.
That
Was the okay.
Yeah.
But responsibility, thinking through. I work with kids. If you've not watched this before, I work with kids. I also work with adults, but a counselor, and I get to get to know them and know hopefully what's going on in their head, and help them to begin to sort things out. And we were talking about responsibility in terms of, I was looking at it in terms of family, and how the expectations of a family, sometimes with kids in particular, because that's what I do, responsibilities being placed on the kids that aren't really their responsibilities.
Okay.
I think that's where I'm going right this minute.
Mm-hmm.
That as parents, we want them to learn to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But my sense is we're trying to talk globally without that sometimes what happens is we place responsibilities on our kids without giving them the tools. That's the part, I think. Giving them the tools to meet those responsibilities, letting them figure it out on their own when at times they're not old enough or don't have the tools. They don't have the knowledge, and then as a parent you're upset with your kid because they didn't do.
So I feel as though there is something important about development in what you're saying there. You know, if we are caring for them, you know, I did not raise children fully to adults. I did not have any children of my own that lived, full disclosure here. So I'm not trying to tell anybody who has children how they should be raising their children. Neither one of us are doing that. Liz has kids, by the way, so she's talking about this on more than one level, as a professional and as a mom.
As a mom who didn't have all the knowledge that I have now.
Well, parenting doesn't come with a handbook.
Man, it should.
And, you know.
But would I read it?
Would you have time?
Exactly.
Would you have time?
What would that glossary look like?
I tell you.
Like you go or the index at the back, trying to find
It would have to be something that's a fill in your own part. You know, it would be one of those books that are, you know, everybody gets to put their own little stuff in, because every time I feel like you experience parenthood, and you know, me as someone who has taken care of children, has cared for them when their parents could not, and started at a young age doing that. I do have some opinions about it, but I always yield to the experts in the room. But you know, what would you say about responsibility? How do you define responsibility, and how does that work in terms of developing a healthy little human?
Yes, to grow into a healthy big human. Because we were also with that piece, how to teach, but also how to model.
Well, I feel like when you're teaching, you're also learning. As a tutor, facilitator, all these things. You're learning as much, if not more so, than what you're teaching. And as we've already said, right, parenting doesn't come with a manual, although there are parenting classes, and there are parenting classes for a reason, because it doesn't come with a manual.
Yeah.
It's not inherent. Because you can have babies doesn't mean that you are a good parent.
Or you have one and
the tools that you need,
and things are okay, but then you have a second one and they're not anything like, because the children do have a nature to them,
that is separate from the nurture.
Separate from the nurture, and the nurture sort of decides how that nature will present.
Wow. Say that again. Oh my goodness.
Nurture decides how the nature will present.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of deep, wasn't
girl.
it?
Yeah, for sure,
Like,
for sure. Yeah.
Wow, because
So that's why you need the tools.
Yeah, because and you may need help too, because I'm thinking
I think you always need help.
Yeah,
I'm
this
sorry.
is true. You need support, and understanding, because you may have a child who's what you call difficult, and labeling the child difficult then makes it easier for you to sort of let go of the responsibility to help them develop. Damn it. Yeah, because they're a difficult child, rather than saying, okay, they're not a difficult child. Their nature's difficult for me to know how to help them be in the world, to how to help them develop as whole human beings.
Ooh, gems.
They are gems.
Yes.
I'll need to watch this because I'm gonna forget all this stuff. That is a measure of my age, and that is why age makes a difference.
We should always watch what we're putting out there, they say, so we know what they're putting out there. We might meet somebody one day and they say, hey, you said X, Y, and Z, and you're like, I did?
Yeah.
No bueno.
So, thinking about responsibility today, responsibility as an adult in the world, in community.
How about as an adult, a parent, adult, and a parent of an adult?
Yeah.
Because that's different than the responsibility as the parent of a child.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So where does that responsibility end? Does it end?
That is an excellent question. Because it's hard to let go of feeling responsible for me, not for everybody. It's hard to let go of feeling responsible for, and letting the adult be and develop themselves without trying to tell them how to be. I know. Why did it get hot all of a sudden?
Yeah, it feels like the heat is on. That's so funny.
I know. Yeah.
So they're an adult.
They're
out on their own.
Yes.
Not living with you, as is the case with many these days. And are you their friend now? Are you, because I have opinions about that whole friendship with your kid thing. What
I see it's interesting.
How do you navigate that?
How do you, because I don't feel that I need to parent. I am their parent, but I don't need to, parent. I need to support them in their becoming. I can share opinions, but I also, when I do that, I also have to be open to hearing opinions in reverse. And we have had that happen with our eldest son, concerns over some things we were doing with our younger son. And that was hard to hear. It was hard to, but he's a grown man with thoughts and feelings, and he cares about that. The fact was that he cares about us, which is the entire reason why he felt it was his responsibility to say something. To be, yeah.
So in the realm of, it takes a village, right? It takes a healthy village. Yeah, you're an adult already. We know this, but you and your mom are having conflict. And you asked me to be a part of this conversation so that I can bridge the divide because, I've known you since you were a child. I've helped to raise you. And this is a situation where both of you cannot see how similar you are, or that you're both coming at this in the same way. It's just from different generations.
Ooh, and you can't hear it because you're busy going. You're busy defending your position. Versus being open to hearing information that may be different. It might even be the same, just worded differently, but that
or even accepting your responsibility for the relationship, taking on your part of the relationship. So if you ask mom for help and then she gives it to you and she sees what you've done with the help you asked her for, and she doesn't like what you did with it, and you say, well, I didn't ask you if you were going to like it or not. I just asked you to help me. And she said, well, if I had known that that's what you were going to do, I wouldn't have helped you because that doesn't even make any sense. That's crazy. And you say, I know what I'm doing. And you need to mind your business. And then she is on 10 at that point. And I'm still your mom. Who are you talking to like that?
And both of you are then closed. Both of you, when you get into that defensive position, you can't hear in a defended position.
So the responsibility at that point is for somebody to remember that we are in this because we care about each other and we want a good or a better outcome.
Yes.
Here. We want something to change for the better here. So how do we get ourselves back to that responsibility?
Yes. So I think for me, being responsible to check my defensiveness, I'm responsible to try to remain as open as possible to new thought, ideas, ways of seeing and doing. To be open doesn't mean I have to accept and then embrace and it become a part of me, but I feel like my responsibility is to at least consider, to take whatever it is seriously. And sometimes that's really hard.
Yeah.
And if you're tired,
it's getting there. I think it's the challenge. It's getting there to recognizing that what I'm putting out might not even be about what we're talking about right now. It's a response or a reaction based on something else. Like you're always in my business. I feel like you're always in my business. And on the other side, you always want help, but you don't want to hear what nobody has to say about it.
Yeah.
You could have avoided X, Y, and Z if you were willing to listen, but no. And then you want help, but you want me to help and shut up. That's not my.
You asked me. That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's not how it's work. It's never gonna work like that.
Yeah.
There are deep-seated reasons why that is what ends up happening. The argument, the clashing, and some of it doesn't have to do with this particular situation. It's an ongoing something that I've been resenting or feeling on the inside all this time, and this is just fuel to the fire, or
it triggers me.
That
Another
part.
part of our conversation, it
That part.
triggers me to some deep place where I felt as a child. Like, how old am I?
well, to get back to the responsibility part. So if we are parents, children, whatever our place is in the hierarchy, how are we giving ourselves or getting what we need to be able to even see our responsibility for that health, for the health of that relationship then?
Yeah. And it is about relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It is, whether it's Debbie and I, you and your mom, you and your auntie, you and your friend, you and yourself. It's about relationship and being responsible to all of those pieces in those relationships. I was just thinking, and a good question that I may use with some of my teenagers, to talk about what they feel their responsibilities are, and challenge them to think through, and then what do you need to meet those responsibilities. This actually turned out really good. Okay. Now I have an action item for myself too, but yeah.
And that action item is to think about what?
It's to think about what are my responsibilities
In what?
in relation to our relationship, in relation to my marriage, my children, my work, the clients that I have, my community, myself. What are my responsibilities, and what additional information or tools or assistance do I need so that I can meet my responsibilities in a healthy way?
How do I name them? I think for me it's the key part of that. How do I name them, and how do I place them? Is it a level? Are they all equally as important to me? Are some of them above or below others? What is my way of thinking and feeling around responsibility? How do I define it, and what are the names that I give it in my life, so that I can be healthy and healthier?
There's some great questions.
All right. So this is responsibility and relationships, or relationships and responsibilities.
In the weird way we got here.
Yeah.
Which is part of Carpool Convo.
Kind of. Sometimes I feel like I have to bring us back around, and sometimes I feel like Liz has to bring us back around, but mostly sometimes it's because there's a lot of stuff that we've been talking about, and she wants to bring in stuff that I want us to save
for another time.
But we always get to what is needed to be said, and the journey is kind of like a route that we're taking as we drive along in our carpool convo.
And sometimes there are potholes that you have to avoid.
Oh my gosh.
Or they're fixing the road, and now you got to take a detour.
An alternate route.
Yeah.
But you always get to the place where you need to be.
Yes.
When the drive is laced with and fueled by love and a sense of abundant joy and hope for a better, bigger, brighter way healthier way of life.
Amen.
Have a good day.
Bye.